Hi, Davy. I'm awesome. Welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. So this past week was AEW's annual event, the one that started it all, Double or Nothing, 2026, live from Queens, New York. Let's get into it. The opening match was an I Quit tag team match between Cage and Cope and FTR. Stipulation being that if Cage and Cope win, obviously they get the tag team championships. If FTR wins, Cage and Cope can never tag together ever again. This match was so awesome. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and spoil some. I'm going to say that I think it wasn't a good idea to make this the opener, because holy crap. Of course, it was brutal. Lots and lots of brutality, weapons, and all that stuff. It's an I Quit match. Came down to, of course, Stokely Hathaway getting involved, so out comes Beth Copeland. But FTR very quickly attacks her, sets a table on fire, and was about to put her through it. But then she got out of the way and made it to where Stokely and Cash Wheeler were the ones that went through the flaming table. This left Dax Harwood all by himself, who ended up getting put in a sharpshooter by Christian Cage. And thanks to Beth handing Cope his friend Spike, the board with nails, and jamming it into his head, Dax had no choice but to say he quits, and Cope and Cage are the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. This match had everything you wanted. It had the back and forth, it had the brutality, it had the drama, because we did not know which way it was going to go. Was this going to be Christian Cage and Adam Copeland's swan song, or were they going to actually get the AEW Tag Team Championships? Well, that's what happened, and this could not get any less than a 5 out of 5. Then for the International Championship, Konosuke Takeshita challenging Kazuchika Okada. Rivalry that's been building for quite a while is finally coming to fruition. And this was another great match. A lot of back and forth. Didn't have a clue which way it was going to go. Was Okada going to retain and his rivalry between Tim and Takeshita was going to get greater? Or was Takeshita going to finally get his payback for all the disrespect? Well, it turned out to go that way. Because after a running knee to the face, Takeshita got the pin, the win, and is a 2-time international champion. But after it, because of the frustration of the Don Callis family with their own Takeshita, who was the founding member, they kind of surrounded him, obviously not happy about him taking the title off Okada, their golden boy, which culminated when we got the return of Kyle Fletcher, who at first looked like he came out to help out his friend, but didn't. Took him out, making it pretty clear that Takeshita is out of the Don Callis family. The story and everything in this match, another 5 out of 5. Then, as now has become tradition for the Double or Nothing, the opening of the Owen Hart Memorial Invitational Tournament, starting with the women's. Mina Shirakawa versus the forever ROH Women's Champion, Athena. I mean, it was good. Good match. It was entertaining. There just wasn't much to it, other than when Athena drop-kicked Mina Shirakawa into the LED on the barricade and took out the LED. That was kind of cool. And then it went until Athena picked up the win, because she always wins. That's why she's been ROH champion for like 3-4 years. But ultimately, there wasn't that much drama in this. There was back and forth. It was good, but I'd only give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the Continental Championship, Kyle O'Reilly challenging Jon Moxley. This time, though, no time limit, as their last match went to the 20-minute time limit. Also, it was interesting that Kyle O'Reilly is going into this with 2 victories over Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, no victories over Kyle O'Reilly. And it was a really good match. And of course, there was that drama of, was Kyle O'Reilly going to win the Continental Championship, continue his streak against Jon Moxley, or was Jon Moxley going to finally overcome him? And even the way that culminated was kind of surprising, as Jon Moxley got Kyle O'Reilly into an ankle lock, making Kyle O'Reilly tap out. Even though Jon Moxley is not much of a submission wrestler. I would have preferred it to go to Kyle O'Reilly, because I really feel like the Continental title really isn't much to Jon Moxley. He's a multiple-time world champion, but whatever. It was a good match. It wasn't as good as their other matches, so that kind of took out some of the steam. Whereas I wouldn't give this one a 4. Definitely a good solid 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then, the first round of the men's Owen Hart Memorial Tournament. Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. Imagine I'm glad they had on pay-per-view, but I kind of felt like they should have saved this for something bigger. But okay. Because this match was really freaking good. And at one point, it looked like it was going to be Joe, as he had Will Ospreay in the Coquina Clutch, and Will Ospreay was not able to get to the ropes. He was just out of reach, but he reached. Then even the way it ended was really cool. As Joe was about to get Will Ospreay into a muscle buster, Will Ospreay reversed it into a hidden blade, followed by a second hidden blade, getting the pin, the win, and he advances in the Owen Hart tournament. It was a really, really good match. Not good enough to get a 5, but easily a solid 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then a second first round men's Owen Hart Memorial Tournament. Swerve Strickland versus Bandito. It was really good. Swerve was working Bandito's neck throughout it, so there was kind of a cool moment when Bandito got his finisher, but could not pin him because the bridge on his neck made it to where he just couldn't hold it. From there, Swerve was able to get a house call, get the pin, and the win. And like I said, it was good, but the difference between this and the other men's Owen Hart match was that one could have gone either way. This one, I don't think anybody thought Bandito was going to win this one. That took some of the drama out. Really good. Wasn't enough to get a 4 though, but another solid, easy 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then a fatal 4-way for the Women's World Championship, as Tekla defended her championship against Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida, which they were also making a big deal out of. This was 4-way where all 3 of the challengers were former champions. It was a good, crazy match like a 4-way should be. What I really loved was the story finally getting in there of Hikaru Shida turning on Chris Statlander. They had said before the match that the two of them were not against each other, even though everyone was in it for themselves. But the way it happened, as Statlander had gotten her Saturday Night Fever onto Tekla, and Hikaru Shida hit Chris Statlander with a kendo stick. A very vicious way to break up that pin, making it very clear that Shida is turning on Chris Statlander, and they're going to have a rivalry. But after this, Hayter got Shida out of the ring, and Tekla was able to pick up the win over Chris Statlander, retaining her Women's World Championship, and that not even being the focal point of this match. It was really good. I'd give it a good solid 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then the chaos that is Stadium Stampede, as members of the Dawes Callis family teamed with the Demand and the Dogs to take on Chris Jericho, the Elite, and the Hurt Syndicate. So much chaos in this match. So many interesting things, like when Leon had Kenny Omega in an abdominal stretch, and every member of his team helped him out. Or just interesting things like they're fighting backstage and they run into Leo Rush, who's still doing his crazy Smeagol thing. He was gonna just sit there and rant stupid things, but they had to attack him, so he attacked them. They brought in crazy things, like of course they brought in the bag of what's in the bag. At one point it was onions, later tennis balls. Still no plastic spoons. And the chaos just ensued until Chris Jericho was able to pick up the win for his team, getting some retribution on the Demand and Ricochet. I don't think him and Ricochet, I don't think this is done, but still, it was Stadium Stampede. It's always a good time, and it's always a 5 out of 5. Yeah! Then the main event for the AEW World Championship. The World Championship versus hair. MJF versus Darby Allin. MJF with the stipulation of if he loses, he has to shave his head bald. Which, of course, he's a little vain, doesn't want to do that. He paid a lot of money to get hair plugs. It was a great match. It was definitely better than the last match these two had, that 2-3 minute squash fest that I know most people love, but I was really not a fan of it. And the brutality went to, of course, MJF doing the brutal things he does, like a tombstone pile driver off the middle rope, which then, just for a little extra insult, did a headlock takeover on Darby Allin to get the pin, the win, and MJF is a 3-time AEW World Champion and gets to keep his hair. Wouldn't say it was good enough to get a 5, but it was definitely good enough to get a 4 out of 5. Yeah! So, AEW Double or Nothing 2026 overall was a really good show. Seemed pretty even. Out of 9 matches, 3 5s, 3 4s, 3 3s. My only issue with the show is I think it peaked too soon, because the first 2 matches were 5s. And as honestly as chaotic and good as a Stadium Stampede match was, it's so chaotic, sometimes it gets a little hard to follow. I don't think that any match topped the opening, the I Quit tag team match. That was the match of the night. And that's not usually a good thing to have the match of the night be the first match. The Owen Hart tournament thing, they like starting it on Double or Nothing. I'm not a big fan of that. I think that really should just start on a Dynamite or a Collision. But whatever. The Shirakawa Athena one, it just wasn't much to it. I don't think any one of us thought Shirakawa was going to win that. They don't really do much with her, and Athena they're basically making look unbeatable. In fact, her reign as women's champion for Ring of Honor has gotten so boring and stale. Like I said with the Swerve Strickland Bandito one, it was a good match, but there wasn't that drama of like, I can't miss anything, because you knew dang well it was going to be Swerve Strickland. The Will Ospreay Samoa Joe match was freaking awesome. The Continental Championship match, it was good, it needed to happen, and it definitely needed to happen on a pay-per-view. I just wasn't crazy about the result. I kind of feel the Continental title is holding Jon Moxley back, whereas it's something that Kyle O'Reilly could maybe elevate with. But I guess we won't know. The International Championship match was great. I love that Takeshita is again the International Champion. I love that this rivalry with him and the Don Callis family is going to happen, especially because, like, again, he was a founding member, so it looks like it's going to go more to him and Kyle Fletcher. The Women's World Championship match, where it was really good, it's kind of funny that the main thing that made it good was not the title, but rather the story unfolding between Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander, which I'm also happy about because I think we've been seeing this coming for a while, and they finally pulled the trigger. The main event was good. A lot of people have been ranting and raving ever since Darby Allin won the title. One, just gotta admit, I like Darby Allin, but I'm not a huge fan of him. And I never saw him as the world champion. And I don't think he makes a great world champion. I just don't. To me, he's that kind of wrestler I just look at as being the champion is just unnecessary. Plus, sorry that a lot of people have the same criticism, I gotta go with it. He just seems like a stuntman. And whereas people go like, yeah, that's amazing, that's his appeal, that's actually something that kind of detours me. Like, he's going to go so far one of these days that he's going to die or be paralyzed. And plus, I just personally think that MJF makes a much better champion. He's that champion who's good as the champion, with other people chasing him, trying to get that title off of him. And then everybody ranting and raving about him winning the title in that 3-minute squash match, to me, that was not the right way to do it. These two could have had a great match. This is the match they should have had. But I also like who came out on top. Me personally, I'd rather MJF be the champion with other people coming after it versus Darby Allin being champion, giving people who had no business being the champion. And then what I kind of forgot to mention earlier was how Kevin Knight came out after MJF had won the title and attacked Darby Allin, setting up obviously a feud between him and Darby Allin, probably going to be for the TNT title. I like that Kevin Knight's finally getting some edge to him. His, I'm going to go out there and be like Mike Bailey, where I'm just all about honor and respect and winning one for the Gipper. That's boring. He needs an edge. Maybe it can be what gives it to him. But either way, I was happy about the end result. I was happy about the show overall. I just felt it was bad that they peaked at the very beginning, because even the other 5s that they got weren't as good as that I Quit match. Best match on the card. So, that overall, I would say that AEW was a really good show. Wouldn't give it a 5, though. But I would easily give it a good, solid, and very solid 4 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications when I post the videos. Leave a comment I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me what you thought of AEW Double or Nothing 2026. Love you guys.